No, your eyes are not deceiving you. This Nintendo Switch is completely destroyed. I paid a total of £40 for it on eBay, and the listing stated it doesn't turn on. That's it. However, you can clearly see on the eBay listing pictures that it is bent straight down the middle. When I say missing a thumbstick cover, this is what you see. Missing thumbstick cover. This has a thumbstick ripped in half, as in the circular bit you have here has been yanked off. Also, it is bent, the screen is reflecting all sorts of light, and the bottom of it has been dispatched. Thought I'd check the SD card and the game slot, but unfortunately we don't have anything. I would actually love to know what happened to this. Was it run over by a car or something, or did somebody sit on it? What caused it to bend like it has? Let's try and fix it. Weirdly enough, it also has all of the screws, which is nice. So I'd go ahead and assume that once this happened, the person didn't try and fix it or take it apart, which is good. Now it sounds silly, but the charging port is actually okay. So I'm going to see what happens if we go ahead and put the ammeter in. Do we get anything? If we do, it'll be a miracle. We do, we get something, 0.07, 0.14 amps. It jumps up to 0.49. What? This thing takes a charge? Is it possible that it's just the screen that is faulty then? And everything else works? There's no way. If this thing has somehow survived, I'll be very shocked. Let's take it apart and see what's going on. Don't get me wrong, the reason I went ahead and bought this Nintendo Switch Lite on eBay for £40 is because I thought it'd make a cool video. There's probably about a 0.7% chance I fix this, but it's got a cool story. I'm gonna record just taking this bit out just in case something happens. Okay, we have our first bit of debris that's fallen off. I don't actually know what this is from. Some sort of screw hole, I guess. Another bit of debris has also just broken off. Another bit. I'm just going to shake it and see if anything else comes out. I don't think so. I think we're good. You can see, look at it. Wow. We have a word for this in the UK and it's called foobar. Luckily, the bend is straight down the middle, so I don't actually think we've impacted the battery at all, which is really, really good, because it could be quite dangerous if this battery was to be pierced. So I don't think we have to worry about that as much. Let's just take my ceramic tweezers. The water damage indicator down here as well is fine, so it doesn't look like it's had any water damage. And being honest with you, the board is pretty clean. I'm going to take the board out of the chassis and see if the board itself is bent. Let's have a look. I think if we do manage to get this fixed, it kind of sends out a good message, because most people would have just chucked this away and gone, I've sat on it, it doesn't turn on, it's ruined. But sometimes it can be repaired. Even if we put this motherboard into a chassis that's already broken, you're taking two broken things, combining them together to make one working, so you only have one broken. The power of repair, and it saves money. Even if I have spent £40 on this and I can't get it working, I have a good fan, I've got all the buttons that I need, and I even think this daughter board here is absolutely fine. Plus we have the speakers, the heatsink, etc. But let's take a look at the main board. Right. How straight does this look? In my opinion, it doesn't look that misshaped. If I lie it down flat, you can see there is a bend here over the metal shield. And if I tap the board, it's definitely not 100% flat, because there's movement here, and I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen on a normal board. Let's take it under the scope real quick for a visual inspection and a few tests. I'm just doing a real quick visual inspection just to see what the status is of everything. If we look at the board like this, you can definitely see the curve and the bend. And I am slightly worried that it goes straight through here, which I believe is where we have the RAM. The CPU is here. So it might have even gone through that, which isn't fantastic. We have the charger port, and look at that. The charging port survived. Of everything that survived on this board, and the charging port is fine, that's a miracle. We just have a look up here. All connectors seem fine. If we go to the top of the board, yeah, it looks all good. No water damage, no signs of water damage anyway. Maybe a little bit of thermal pasta over here. If we turn it around on the back, underneath the CPU, looks good. We don't seem to have any missing components from what I can see. Have all the ICs we need. We've got the M92T36 chip, the BQ chip, backlight driver, etc., etc. All look okay. Oh, maybe we do have some slight water damage just here. Maybe that is slight water damage. It looks it. It definitely looks it. And it doesn't just wipe off. Interesting. But as I was saying, everything else looks hunky-dory. Let's put our meter into continuity mode, which is the mode that beeps when we have a connection to ground. Placing the black probe on ground over here. And we're just going to check around some chips to see if we have any shorts. Starting with the M92T36 chip. That's fine. This is okay. Let's check the dreaded CPU cap. Okay, no short on the dreaded CPU cap. That's really, really good. Kep, I said, kep. What we're looking for is a beep on one side, but not the other, which is good. On the caps anyway. And over here we have these four. These are usually known for going bust as well, around M92. How are they looking? Good, 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 good. Nice. Let's check the BQ charging chip. That cap's fine. That's fine. That's good. All gravy, baby, around this chip as well. This does look a little bit discoloured though. Let's zoom in. Is it me, or does that look a little bit discoloured, that cap? It looks yellow. We have markings here as well. Maybe this is just like flux. But this cap here, it's like I found the golden capacitor. Instead of going to Charlie's Chocolate Factory, you can go to the lab to see where the boards are made. Honestly, I think I'm just going to put this into another Nintendo Switch Lite housing that I have and see if it works and go from there to diagnose if it doesn't. There's no better candidate than a Switch Lite Coral that we had from a previous video. I'll leave that up here in a card. We may get some random explosion now that I've transferred this in and supply it with power. I really hope that's not the case. So let's see, shall we, what happens when we go to turn it on. I don't know if this battery has any charge, but what we are looking for ultimately is a battery charging icon up here on the top left. Here we go. We get draw 0.38. Okay. We can work with this. It's a blue light of death. I'm going to take this little shroud off and put some pressure on with my thumb, and then we're going to try again and see if it works. I'm pretty sure the way to get the shielding off is to put the tweezer down and then just pry away from it, and then that should release the clip so you can take off the shield. We just have to do that in a couple of different places. I have to do it down here as well. This one I can't actually get into because it is, there we go. And if we just pop up, there we go. I believe we have one over here as well. So again, tweezer in and just pull outwards, there we go. And it should just lift up. First off, let's clean the thermal pasta from the CPU because we don't want to get it all over our gloves, just by using isopropyl alcohol and a cotton bud. I'm going to plug the battery back in, this little cable over here. I'm going to push down really hard on the RAM, and we're going to see if we get anything on the screen. So I'm pushing on the RAM, still a blue screen as you can see, so nothing changed. I'm now just going to hold down really hard on the CPU itself and see what happens. Interesting. So for future reference, you need to have this cable which links the daughter board to the Switch Lite for anything to happen. So we try again, pushing down. Interestingly enough, I don't get any backlight now that I'm pushing down on the CPU. Let's just try that again. I've disconnected it and I'm now reconnecting. Pushing down on CPU, giving it power. Okay, we get backlight. Moment of truth. Still blue screen. I'm actually going to go with a reflow. So I'm going to try and reflow the RAM and the CPU here to see if that makes any difference whatsoever. I can't see any cracks or anything on either the RAM or the CPU, but because it's had a bend in the board around this area, it might be internal traces that have torn. Not necessarily torn, but have been damaged. I've had to take the board out of the plastic casing because we're about to give this a lot of heat. I'm just going to remove this little sticky thing here as well. I'll start with the RAM on this side and then I'll move over to the CPU. I've got my extractor fan right here because there's going to be so many fumes from the flux. I'm going to do 450 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 80%. I'm going to warm the board up first and then I'm going to come in with the flux and apply it. I'm going to let everything cool down now, but once it reached a certain temperature, I just gave every little chip a nudge, including the two RAMs and the CPU. And hopefully what that does is just reconnects those little solder balls that are underneath the chips, because they most probably become cracked when this board took impact. Right, now let's get this back into the case and see what happens. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. I should probably, wait, we need to put this. That's not happening. Let's see what happens after a reflow. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 0.13, 0.18. Charging symbol, no way! We actually have a charging symbol. Has this actually worked? I'm just going to leave this down for a second and let it charge and do its thing and not get close to it. Oh, it's just reset. Yes, we have the Nintendo Switch logo. Oh my god, it works. No way. I'm turning it off before it overheats. We've got a lot of testing to do before I can confirm this fixed, but let me put it back together and see what happens. I can't believe it. Right, so I've let the console charge a little bit now. Hopefully it turns back on. There we go. Okay, fine. I think we're on about 8% battery or something, but the touchscreen works, which is a result. There's no parental controls, which is another result. However, this stick doesn't work. This one is absolutely fine, no problems whatsoever. If I go to where it says controllers and sensors, if I press in the left stick, you can see here that there's no drift at all. However, if I go and try to do this one, we get nothing. So we need to change out this stick. So let's do that now. That looks like my bad because I don't even think the ribbon cable, no, it's definitely not, has been plugged in. So we're just gonna slot that in and test. Let's give it a test now, make sure it works. So press it down, there we go. Yeah, perfect, nice one. So both the sticks are fine. I have just tested all the buttons as well and everything seems to be working as it should. I just wanted to make sure as well that the fan spins. I had to put a game in to obviously ramp it up a little bit, but the fan is spinning, so that shows all successful as well. I've connected to Wi-Fi as well and Mario Party is the game that I have here. I've done a system update as well, so there's nothing more to update and it's charging as it should. good. And here it is, just as a final look in all of its glory. I had to use the power on and volume up and down button from the grey one because I didn't have one for the pink one, but it's in relatively good condition. I can't believe we fixed this. What I'll do is I'll try and play some games on this if I can to give it a proper run through and just make sure that everything is working. And then if I do eventually go to sell, I'll do it at a discounted price, and I'll also tell people in the description that previously it looked like it had been run over by a bus. Another one saved from the bin. If you want to see me fixing some more Nintendo Switch lights, please follow me over to this video in the corner here. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Let's go.